Right then, lads, welcome back to Kossi's Arsenal podcast. My name is Kossi, back again with another one. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Thanks everybody for tuning in always, each and every time. We're going to be speaking a couple of strikers that have been linked with Arsenal, starting with Ivan Toney. I like Ivan Toney actually a lot. I think if Arsenal got Ivan Toney, it could bring that different feel, that kind of different touch to our forward line. I think he's a strong candidate to replace Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, or even to be a striker who could just actually help him out. Then you have the likes of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who has also been linked with Arsenal, and Anthony Martial, who has been linked with Arsenal as well. So we're going to be discussing those three and trying to make sense of the links, probably trying to see who should be joining Arsenal and what has been written around the transfers of those three players to Arsenal. Do me a favor, smash a like on the video. Let's get this to 200 likes. Subscribe to the channel as well. Of course, we are moving very fast to 50,000 subscribers. And then the biggest thing you can ever do for the channel is get involved in the comment section and tell me, of the three strikers, Anthony Martial, Ivan Toney, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who do you think is the better striker suited for us? Now, of course, I think all of them are good players. Look at that stunner. Anthony Martial scored against Everton over the weekend. It was a beautiful goal, and that just shows you that maybe if he was under the right manager, if he was under the right management, maybe he would have been a better player, because we saw him under Louis van Gaal at Manchester United. He was a star. We saw him at 19 years of age. During his Monaco time, he was a good player. So, would you take any of those three strikers? Is what we're gonna be discussing in this video today. Let us start off with Ivan Toney. Now, the first report I've looked at is Arsenal told to sign Brentford striker Ivan Toney for a reported £22.5 million. And I was like, wow, this is interesting. Ivan Toney for £22.5 million. I don't think it is overstretched, really. I think it is a price for a striker that I would be willing to pay. He is a striker that I would be willing to invest 30 million and less. 30 million and less. I think I would invest it in Ivan Toney. Now, let us look at one or two things. One is, we are looking for a striker that replaces Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, but also a striker that gives us the services of Alexander Lacazette. It just now feels like you could just say it that Lacazette is out of the planning. It's out of planning for Mikel Arteta. I don't know why he doesn't use Gabriel Martinelli as backup striker to Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. At the moment, it just looks like we have one striker. You don't blame Mikel. I really blame him for not playing Gabriel Martinelli. I do blame him for not playing Gabriel, because I think of all the strikers that we do have, Gabriel is the better one, right? Apart from Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, I think the likes of Balogun, the likes of Eddie Nketiah, I think Gabriel Martinelli is the better one. He should be next in line after Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. And with Aubameyang struggling now and having all these very, very poor statistics and things like that, you think we should be grooming someone in like United are doing with Mason Greenwood. So I think we should be grooming someone to get the goals, because in that team, apart from Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, you don't have anyone else that gets the goals, and that's the problem. Saka is a creator, Smith Rowe and Odegaard are creators. They're good at that. They're gonna create the chances, but you need someone who is a specialist in putting the ball in the back of that net. And for me, that person in Arsenal is none other than Gabriel Martinelli. But let us try to look at Ivan Toney and see would Ivan Toney eventually work for Arsenal? Because that's a big question. We might like him, we would like him, but the first question, by the way, to you people is: would you take Ivan Toney to Arsenal? They have a very I think they have a very good partnership. He has a very good, striking partnership with Brent Mbeumo at Brentford. Last season, he was amazing. Their duo was absolutely amazing. And no offenses to the likes of Lacazette and Aubameyang, but I think Mbeumo and Ivan Toney have done better than them this season. It's their first season in the Premier League. They're coming from the Championship. Of course, we did see Ole Watkins as well coming from Brentford, and it was his first season in the Premier League, and he did very, very well with Aston Villa. But this is Brentford, this is Ivan Toney, and this is Brent Mbeumo, and they are still doing their magic. They're still doing their stuff. I think Arsenal need a striker like Ivan Toney for one or two reasons. One, I think he's clinical. Now, don't get me wrong, I've not seen him play at a top level for so long, but in the Championship, he did it, and he's come in the Premier League. Yes, he's not scored many goals, but you can look at the way he's setting up Brand Mbeumo. You can look at the way he's engaging in play. You can look at the way he's a very fast player. He's a very, very powerful player. He bullies defenders, and that's what for me I need in a modern striker. You've got to be all round. Yes, I like Aubameyang. I do praise Aubameyang, but there is a time when I just feel like he's not doing enough. He's not providing enough for us at the moment. So I would take Ivan Toney, because at the end of the day, I'm not going to use. We are not going to have Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, for the rest of our lives. It's either going to be what, 3 more seasons, which could be even a better gift. I think it's going to be 1 or 2 more seasons for Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. However, I don't see us getting Ivan Toney in January. Now, there are a couple of reports that are saying that Arsenal would love to add in a striker in January. That's going to be then very hard. Then that takes us to another dimension of strikers, maybe the likes of Danny Welbeck, the likes of who else could move in January? Maybe Anthony Martial, and we will discuss Anthony Martial later on the podcast. But to be sincere and to be very, very, very clear, to have a very clear conscience, Arsenal should be looking at getting in a striker in the summer. Maybe we could have done that in this summer, but no one wanted to take Alexander Lacazette because of the wages, and that means we have now to look forward to the summer. Who comes in as our striker? Because we can't live with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. It's now two poor seasons back to back. You can't allow yourself wait for a third successive poor season from Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. So I would take I would definitely take Ivan Toney. I would definitely take Ivan Toney. No strings attached, I think. No strings attached. Apart from the price, it should be 30 million and less, right? 30 million or less. I don't need to pay 35, these, staggering figures for a striker like Ivan Toney. I mean, he would add something to us, no? He's still a young striker. And I think everyone in the Premier League would do with a striker like Ivan Toney. I think Liverpool could do with him. I think United could, because they will eventually need a striker. I mean Chelsea have Lukaku, so they're good to go. I think City are not good to go, so they would do it. They could use a hand from a player like Ivan Toney. I like his build. I like his I like his game. That's one of the things I really, really treasure about him. I really like his game, and I think Arsenal would do well if we got him in and stopped all this crap of relying on one goal machine, who is no longer a goal machine in Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Now, story number 2 is Arsenal have also been linked with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and that is not new. We've been linked with DCL before in the summer, and I still remember the price was a staggering 100 million price tag. That is ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. Look, it's not that I feel Calvert-Lewin is not a good striker. That is absolutely out of the picture. I adore him. I like him. I've never liked his build. I've never liked his game as a person. I feel like he's more of an aerial striker rather than being all-round striker. He's more like an Olivier Giroud, but of course not typically an Olivier Giroud, not to that extent. He uses his feet though well, and he runs a lot on the pitch, and I really do like his hard work. But let's think about Calvert-Lewin. If you're gonna pay for Calvert-Lewin, it's gonna be between 100 million, okay, let's say 70 to 100 million. That is a lot of money. And of course that that means you're gonna pay all these English premium and things like that. Of course, he's had a couple of England England national team collabs, so that means you're really gonna pay the premium. Can he do the job at Arsenal, Calvert-Lewin? Yes and no. Look, when I look at him playing for Everton, and especially without him, they struggle, right? They struggle. He gets most of his goals. Most of their goals for Everton, plus Richardson. Last season, he recorded amazing figures. Amazing figures. And this season, he had absolutely started very, very well until he got injured. But I'm still skeptical about players like Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I'm still very, very flexible. I'm still very, very skeptical. He's a flexible player, and I think that's one of the things you would love about him. Very flexible. You could use him as a half nine. You could use him as a nine. It's gonna work well. It's gonna he has that kind of team play. That Aubameyang for me lacks, and if you added him there, he's still young as well. I think 24, 25. So if you added him, he definitely blends in into that Arsenal side. There's no question about that. Calvert blends into the Arsenal side. But 100 million for Dominic Calvert-Lewin is too much. This year to Arsenal, I would love to see that, but it's a lot of money. It's absolutely a lot of money that we're gonna pay. For me, I wouldn't even pay 50. I wouldn't even pay 50 million for this year. The maximum I would pay for this year would be around 35 million, 40 million. And Everton are not going to allow that, because if they're looking at it and they'll be like, we have one of the best English strikers in the world. After Hurricane, probably it's this year, right? Isn't it? Maybe it's this year, and then Ollie Watkins, right? So I would rather go for Ollie Watkins. Actually, for me, this is the time that Arsenal could go for Ollie Watkins. With Aston Villa signing Danny Ings, and I'm looking at Ollie Watkins as struggling with the presence of Danny Ings. You remember last season, Ollie Watkins, of course, he started this season injured, and it's one thing that he could use as an excuse, but he's no longer that comfortable like he was, because all the attention, apart from Jack Grealish, all the attention last season was, was to find the intention at Aston Villa was to find the feet the boots of Ollie Watkins. It's no longer happening, obviously because of reasons that we know. The introduction of Danny Ings. So for me, this is the time you go out there and fish Ollie Watkins. I would take Ollie Watkins. I think he's a ball player. I think he's a better ball player than Calvert-Lewin. But Lewin is also a good striker. Don't get me wrong. But the price tag, 40 to 100 million, in between there, I'm not paying that. I'm not paying for that for Calvert-Lewin. I think we could move on. Right, we could move on to our options. I think Ollie Watkins is a good option. I don't know what you people think, but I think Ollie Watkins is a good option. If you just go out there and fetch him out, right? I think it would it would work. It would work for us. So between Toney and Calvert-Lewin, I'm definitely going for Calvert-Lewin. Sorry, I'm definitely going for Toney. I'm dropping Calvert-Lewin. I'm dropping Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And I know many people on this channel do love DCL. Many people feel like DCL should be the striker. But if you're looking for a reliable source of goals, if you're looking for a complete striker, for me, I just feel like the debate then should be between Ivan Toney, DCL, and Ollie Watkins. I think Arsenal should stretch their eyes to that extent. We should be looking at least we should be trying to get Ollie Watkins. It's not going to be very easy to get him from Aston Villa. It could cost us around 49 million or 50 million. But you know what? For Ollie Watkins, I could be tempted to pay. I could be tempted to pay the 50 million. I could be, because he's clinical, he's young, and I think he's an all-round striker, right? I would pay the 50 million. I would pay the 50 million. Yes, there is there is an English premium there. There is the English tax, but you do it and see how and see how things roll. So I would definitely go for Ollie Watkins or Ivan Toney for that case. For Dominic Calvert-Lewin, maybe if the price is reduced to 35, 35, 36, 38 million, if we can negotiate in those boundaries, he's not a bad striker, not at all. He's not a bad striker. You go for him and see where things end. And see how things roll. So I would definitely go for a Calvert if the money is low. But if his money is still up there in the air, then the best thing for me to do is go and get the likes of Ollie Watkins and develop themselves, develop them yourselves. Get the likes of Ivan Toney. I think Brentford would. I don't think Brentford would say no to money. I don't think they would say no. They would definitely take. They would definitely take that money. They would definitely take it. Now, still talking about strikers and who comes in next as Arsenal forward, especially after Alexander Lacazette. We have Anthony Martial that has also been linked with Arsenal, and for me this is absolutely ridiculous. Anthony Martial has been linked with a January move to Arsenal Football Club, and that follows the fact that he's not getting game time at Manchester United. Well, look, it's quite funny, isn't it? It's really quite funny that we're even interested in Anthony Martial. For me, it's quite funny, but not very funny because we are Arsenal Football Club. I don't know what your thoughts are on Anthony Martial coming to Arsenal, but for me, it's a big no. It's a very, very big no, and it's a big no from a person who is a big fan of Anthony Martial. I've never felt he's so poor to the extent that Manchester United fans think. I've never thought of him as that. I've always thought of him as this kind of striker that just found himself in the wrong team or things like that. Because for me, if Martial is at Everton on one wing and Richarlison on the other wing, they would be producing magic. If Anthony Martial is playing at I wouldn't say really at Leeds, because the pace is really too much there. There's a lot of hard work. I think he lands himself in a Manchester United team under Louis van Gaal, a manager that believed in him, a manager that saw a lot of talent in him, and a manager that saw a lot of potential in Anthony Martial. And I think then things worked out of him. Right, because you remember the goals he scored, the levels of confidence he had, and things like that. But under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he's just dropped out of the pecking order. He's just dropped out of the favorite places. That doesn't mean he is absolutely awful, right? It doesn't mean that he's absolutely awful. But would I take him at Arsenal in January or in the summer? Absolutely not. Absolutely out of the picture. Look, we are still struggling with Nicola Pepe, and I believe Anthony Martial is another Nicola Pepe. Yeah, he could be another Nicola Pepe. If he comes to Arsenal, he would be another Nicola Pepe, because you need to sort out your feet fast, really quickly, then get us to produce something. That is my problem with Anthony Martial, and that is my problem with Nicolas Pepe. They waste a lot of time trying to do shit. They waste a lot of time trying to do. I don't know what they're trying to do. Absolutely don't know. Probably we should try to ask them. But they do. They waste a lot of time trying to gather numbers and try to cut them down and probably try to produce good crosses. That is not how it works. Come on. That is not how it works. Look at players like Bukayo Saka. Look at players like Mason Greenwood. Look at players like Phil Foden. What is making them so special in the modern game is their ability to decide early and their ability to execute efficiently. And that is the modern game. It's not about dribbling and dodging, right? Yeah, you could dribble, you could dodge, as long as it is efficient, as long as it is effective. The moment you lose the effectiveness, which Anthony Martial no longer has, the moment you lose the efficiency, which Nicolas Pepe doesn't have, you're out of the picture in modern football. And I think that is why Anthony Martial is struggling, and that's why I think players like Nicolas Pepe, the likes of Adama Traore and Saint-Maximin at Newcastle, it's the reason that's why they are going to struggle. It's the efficiency in the modern game. Newcastle is on the is on the brink is it called brink brick of being taken over by some enterprise in Qatar. And I'm telling you, if the Qatari take over Newcastle, Saint-Maximin, however much he's been a key figure, at some point in time he's gonna have to leave the stage, because his efficiency for me is absolutely lacking as compared to the level of respect that is awarded at Newcastle. So let's speak about it. We all love players like Nicolas Pepe. They are entertaining, the likes of Anthony Martial. If you just get a few clips of Anthony Martial and Nicolas Pepe, add them together, destroying defenders, yeah, but that's all they can do. They cannot give you amazing figures, right? And I just feel Anthony Martial maybe is a better player than Nicolas Pepe, because we've seen Martial record 20 goals in the Premier League, at Manchester United. Not in the Premier League, but I should say it wasn't 20 really, but it was double figures in a Manchester United campaign, Champions League and Premier League combined, and that is for me special. Right? Yes, Nicolas Pepe last season did record double figures, but the consistency of Nicolas Pepe is absolutely disgusting. So disgusting. If you definitely look into it, Anthony Martial would be a better player. But I'm telling you, both of them out. To hell with them. I'm not signing Anthony Martial, and we should get rid of Nicolas Pepe as well. We need players that are a little bit more efficient. Look, if you got rid of Nicolas Pepe and brought in Lorenzo Insigne, Italy, from Napoli, I got no problem with that, because I know Lorenzo Insigne can give me 10 goals in a season, and can give me 10 correct assists in a season. I mean, I could work with that. And it's gonna give me 20 good games in a season where he doesn't score, where he doesn't create, but just amplifies the rhythm of the players around him. And that's what you need from from such players. But with Anthony Martial, he works less. We've got to accept that he works less. He has this, he's got this kind of bossy attitude, walking, just throwing his arms on the pitch. Something that, it reminds me of Nicolas Pepe still, losing the ball and then starts busting around. I wouldn't take Martial. Good player. If I was Everton, I would take him. If I was Southampton, I would take him. Arsenal, I don't take him. If you're trying to build, I think, let's not bring it down by playing, by adding in players like Anthony Martial. So with Martial, no. It's a no. It's a correct no. I wouldn't take him. I think out of the strikers we've talked about, in my pecking order, Oli Watkins number 1. I would take Oli Watkins number 1. Ivan Toney number 2. Number 3, I would go for Calvert. And then probably as the last resort, I would go for Martial. And you know, look, no offense, Martial, I would take Martial over players like Patrick Bamford. I would take him over players like Patrick Bamford. But if he's looking for a striker, a next generation striker, because that is what we are looking for at the moment, it's not Anthony Martial for me. He's out of the picture. He's out of it. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, guys, and I'll speak to you in the next one.